Hey guys, it's Mustafa and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been so long since I've sat down and talked with you guys. So much has happened. Um, but we're gonna talk about that in another video. Everything that's transpired recently, because I think you guys are gonna be super excited to just hear the tea and get into my personal life. But anyways, today I really wanted to talk about this panini that we're still in and what we're gonna do from here. What do we do going forward? What does normal look like? Because I was talking about it with my friends and we're all just stumped. Like nobody knows. Nobody knows anything. Nobody just knows what's going on. We're all just confused and going through the motions together. So yeah, without further ado, let's talk about this panini. I will have everything time-stamped below because I am going to talk about different topics in this video. So if there's anything that you want to skip to, definitely check the description box. So will we ever get back to normal? And if we do, what will that look like? I honestly don't know if we can ever get back to normal. Quote unquote normal. What is normal? When I say normal, I mean pre-panini. I'm talking about music festivals, mosh pits, like taking tequila shots out of someone's mouth. That's what I mean by normal. And I just don't think we'll ever be able to get back to that point. And I feel like once the damage has been done, there's no going back. I went out with one of my friends and we were at a bar and we were just like chit-chatting, living our best lives, and it felt so weird. It was just like awkward just being around people again. And what I mean by that is like there was a couple people at the bar and like a couple people in the club, not the club, but a couple people like on the floor of the bar, just like chit-chatting. It's like a cute little dive bar. But it was awkward being around them. And at one point, someone had come to the bar area to get a drink, and they gotten close to me, and it just felt really weird. I was like, oh my god, why are you so close to me? Like, please get away. And usually, like, I wouldn't care. I'd be like, whatever, like, we're at a bar, like, people are drunk, it's gonna happen. But I was really uncomfortable. I was like, oh my god, like, what if you cough on me too hard and I die? So I just don't think we can go back to normal. I don't know if that is possible because like I said earlier, the damage has already been done. Like you can't go back. It's gonna be weird and awkward. I think maybe not for everyone, but for some people, for most people, I think it is gonna be a little bit strange. I want to go back to how things were pre-Panini, but it's like, how do we do that? Everyone's so paranoid. There's so much misinformation. It's like every day someone's catching COVID. So it's like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? I don't know. It's weird. It's such a weird thing. And then as far as like work goes, everyone has gotten so accustomed to working from home. And most companies want people to come in. I know my company especially, they don't want you working from home because they feel like it decreases productivity, even though there's no evidence that states that. Our CEO still feels like it decreases productivity working from home. So he is very adamant about making people come in. And I think all over the country, plenty of jobs that were remote are now switching to in person. And a lot of people are getting upset because it's like, hey, we've been working from home and we've been doing fine. Just let us keep doing that. Like, it's for our safety and we're comfortable this way. And these jobs are like, no, you need to come in. So that's going to be weird because these jobs don't want you to work from home and they're going to find people who are more than willing to come in to an office and work. So I just don't think we can ever go back to that because nobody wants to go back to an office. No one does. It's like no one in their right mind who wants to be in the office? Who wants to deal with those people? Who wants to deal with all of that? I think more so now, with the focus being so much on mental health and, protecting your energy and your mental, going into the workplace is very stressful for a lot of people. It's very toxic. There's so much going on. It's just a very depressing environment. So, who wants to go back to that? No one. I don't want to go back to that. Like, I know you don't. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, what's really the point? Yeah, that's just how I feel about that. I just don't think we can ever go back to normal. I don't see it. Like, I don't see myself doing things that I used to do pre-Panini. Like, taking tequila shots out of someone's mouth. Like, that's, I will never do that again. The fact, I look back on that and I'm like, you're disgusting. Who do you think you are? I don't know her. So it's like, I don't think I can do that. Like, I don't think I can go to a concert and be surrounded by people who are just like sweaty and hot and just like jumping all over you. I just don't think I can do that again. Because it's like, ew, who are you? Like, you really did that? Like, you really did that. So, I don't know. But you guys let me know. Are you guys, will you guys ever, like, do you think you'll be able to go back to normal in the way things were, you know, pre-panini? Definitely comment down below. I'm very curious. Now, even though people have the vaccine, they're still getting sick, and they're giving it to people who are unvaccinated and then they're dying. And that's very sad all around. And the reason why it's scary, and okay, I want to first start this by saying a vaccine does not mean you won't catch whatever the vaccine is intended to fix or whatever. You're gonna like, there's a chance that someone will get sick who is, you know, vaccinated. And that's with any vaccine. It doesn't matter what it is. There's a chance that you will get sick. However, I guess it's, you're not getting as sick as people who don't have the vaccine, because those people are, you know, dying. And that's like really sad. But I think the news, and this is another thing, the news, we're gonna get into the news later. On the news, they love spreading fear, and I don't want to be that person, but the news oftentimes spreads a lot of misinformation. They spread a lot of things that are going to get them buzz and clicks and views, because at the end of the day, they need that. They need eyes on them. So yeah, they might fudge up the truth a little bit, but it's in their best interest to do that. And that's not like a conspiracy. That's like a whole fact. Throughout this whole entire pandemic, the news has spread lots of misinformation and lots of factual information too. They've done both, but I think misinformation spreads faster than the truth, because a lot of people are afraid, and it's easy for them to believe something that validates their fear versus something that doesn't, which is the truth. You know what I mean? When you're in that state, of course you're going to agree with someone when they say, oh, don't do X, Y, Z because of this, and that's, you know, it validates your fear. So you're, okay, yeah, that's real, that's the truth, versus the actual truth that doesn't do that. But because you heard the misinformation first, it's going to be a lot harder to convince you of the truth. And that's just the nature of things. So I feel like if you want to get vaccinated, do it. If you don't want to do it, then don't do it. But do your research. Make sure you do your research. Make sure you are looking at credible sites, credible, you know, resources. Don't get your information from Facebook groups, because those are the breeding ground of misinformation, is Facebook groups and Facebook in general. So question everything and take things with a grain of salt. Make sure you do your own research. Do what's best for you. And that's just how I feel about that. And with the vaccine too, and people who are unvaccinated versus vaccinated, I just don't think we have the right to like force anyone to do that. I just don't. And I'll get into that later, but I just don't think you can, I don't think it's right to force someone to do something against their will. Now, throughout the vaccine, not throughout, throughout the panini, there's been a widespread of misinformation. And this is partly because this whole pandemic was handled very poorly. And whether or not you're on the left or the right or in between, you can agree that it was handled extremely poorly. When news broke out of this vaccine, and when news broke out of this situation in China, the border should have been closed right away. Period, point blank. Like, there's no arguing about that. It should have been closed, because the idea that it wouldn't come to us is ludicrous. But whatever, life goes on. Now, when the cases started coming here, it should have been handled with more urgency than it was. You know what I mean? We didn't take it seriously until the numbers started rising. If we had taken it seriously from the jump, we wouldn't be where we are right now. And that's a fact. Also, because it was handled so poorly, that is how the misinformation became rampant, and the spread of it was like wildfire. You cannot control it at all. For starters, when the vaccine first started, there was not enough information about it. And partly, I guess China is to blame for this because they just weren't giving us the tea and they didn't really want to talk to us, which is whatever. That's understandable. You know what? If they were able to figure it out, they're like, they can figure it out too. These people are adults. They'll figure it out. So I'm not mad at them for doing that. I understand. However, I think when it first started, we were told that it spreads from contact. So make like the gloves were a big thing. People were wearing like vinyl gloves and latex gloves, like everywhere, everywhere, to touch every single thing, which didn't make sense because hello, cross contamination. But whatever, that's besides the point. Then it came out that no, it's not spread through surfaces. It's spread through it's airborne. So everybody has to wear a mask. Okay, everybody wear a mask. Then it was like, no, you need to stay 6 feet apart too. So then it's like, okay, what do you want me to do? Because you're saying different things. And as someone who, let's say, isn't like watching the news 24/7 or just like isn't in the loop like that, you're going to miss out on certain things. So let's say you heard that you're supposed to be wearing gloves. You know what I mean? And then it's like 5 months later, 2 months later, they're like, someone's like, you need a mask. You're like, no, I heard you're supposed to wear gloves. So then it becomes this whole moment. And it's like, oh, everyone's confused. Everyone's getting different information from different places. So no one's on the same page. Nobody's on the same page. And the news, because this is such a big thing, they're just releasing story after story after story without really investigating further on the things that they're saying. They're just saying anything, and everybody now is an expert on viruses and epidemiology. Yeah, so, and it's just like, if we would have just taken a minute and just like took a step back and really analyzed what was going on, we would have, I feel like, had a vaccine sooner. We wouldn't have been scrambling to get things together. And this isn't to blame like any individual. Like this, the blame ultimately falls on the people in power because they handled this very, very poorly. And it's so sad because this isn't the first time that we've had not a vaccine. This isn't the first time that we've had a disease outbreak, a viral outbreak. Like we've had them before, but I think this was the one that was the worst, one of the worst, I will say. So it was just handled poorly, and that handling led to the spread of misinformation because it only added more fuel to the fire. There was a lot of distrust with the government and how they were handling things already. So finding out that they weren't being 100% truthful about the panini and the virus, it's like it adds more fuel to the fire and just made everything 10 times worse. And like I was saying earlier, Facebook is the breeding ground for misinformation. It's so hard to differentiate truth from, fiction, because the thing with fiction is there's some truth to it. It may not be the whole truth, but there's some bits of truth thrown into there. So it feels real and it feels factual. So it's easy to cling on to that, especially if it aligns with what you were already thinking before. It makes it so much easier. So these people were afraid, they were scared, and they were looking for an answer. And they found their answers in the lies. And it's so hard to tell the difference between a lie and a truth now because with the internet and deep fakes, it's so easy to make anything look real. You can fake tweets, you can fake screenshots. It's just getting out of hand. So it's like, how do you expect people to know the difference? How do you expect them to know? You have professionals believing the misinformation and telling that information to people. So do you see where I'm going with this? It really became the panini plus an epidemic of misinformation. And I don't think we can ever really recover from that because, like I said earlier, the damage has already been done. Like you cannot recover from that. People have already made up their minds. And once your mind is already made up, it's really hard to change it. It's really, really hard, especially when it comes to something like that. It's hard. People tend to cling to the negative a lot quicker than the positive because the negative it's so easy to spread, you know, negativity because it's tea, it's gossip. It's like, ooh, yes, yes, yes. Let me tell this person. Let me tell this person because you want to vent. You want to let out that anger. So you will spread the lies and misinformation because you're angry and you know and you feel like it's the truth. So of course you're gonna spread it. You're like, you know what? Yeah, this was a conspiracy. This was made by the government. I know they did because it only makes sense. So now I'm gonna tell my friend versus that not being the case because it just doesn't align with what you believed in anyways. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm not explaining it in the best way. Maybe it's because it's kind of late and I'm filming this, but I can definitely elaborate further on that. But that's just my 2 cents on this whole misinformation, how this was handled poorly. I think looking back, once we get a couple years, decades into the future, this will be a learning experience and we'll know how to handle things better in the future so it doesn't get to this point. Because right now, like the future is so uncertain with everything that's going on. It's really scary and it's not a good feeling. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right. And then lastly, this is like the last thing we want to talk about, and I guess this video will be done, but where do we go from here? Where and this is a question that I'm asking you guys because I genuinely want to know, where do we go from here? Because I don't know. I want us to obviously move forward and I want the world to learn and grow and evolve as we're supposed to. But where do we go from here? How do we get to that next stage? Because it's like there's a new variant, you know, people are still getting sick, and it's like although the cases are not as much as they were before, it's still happening, and things going back to normal, it doesn't look like it's gonna happen, excuse me, anytime soon. And that's concerning because during this whole panini, mental health issues have been exacerbated. So with that happening, we cannot continue like this because it'll only make things worse. You know, domestic violence has gone up because people are home. There's been a rise, I think it was like the FBI said a 30% rise in crime since the panini. That's crazy to me. Um, it's like, how do we go back to the way things were? Or not even that. How do we make it better? How do we go to that next level? Like, what do we do? What are the steps? Like, how do we get there? Because looking now, I don't know. And usually, like, I have an answer and I know, okay, this is what we should do. This is what I think we should do and how I think we should get there. But it's like, I don't know. I really don't know. I have no idea. And it's concerning. It's concerning about this vaccine mandate. It's concerning because I have friends who are vaccinated and I have friends who are not vaccinated. And I ultimately believe that that is their choice. And who am I to judge them for the choices that they make? They felt that this was the best choice for them and they did that. So I can only support their decision and wish them luck in life. And I do. And we're still friends. I just don't think we should. I just don't think we can force anyone to do something against their will. I personally believe that as an adult, you have the autonomy to make your own decisions, your own choices. And once you take that away from someone, you're basically dehumanizing them. Because like I said earlier, every human has, you know, free will. That's what makes you human, is that free will to make your choices and ultimately do what you want to do and what you feel is the best decision. So to take that away from someone is to take away their humanity in a way. But yeah, you guys, I don't know. I don't know where we go from here. I don't know how we make things better, if we even can make things better. I took a plane, I went to New Mexico to visit my family. And when I got on the airplane, it was weird having to wear a mask the whole entire airplane ride. I was extremely uncomfortable. And even that, we were able to wear the masks and then we could take them off if we wanted to eat. And it was just, I don't know, it just didn't make sense to me. But I understand why they were doing it, obviously safety. But I don't think we'll ever be able to, I think it's going to be years before we'll ever get back to normal and we'll be able to, you know, remove masks and just not have something over our faces all the time and not have this fear looming over us. It's a very strange feeling, and I think it's because we've never experienced something like this before, so it's our first time experiencing this, and it's unsettling, it's not comfortable, it's not fun, It's depressing, if I'm being honest. And I think a lot of people can agree with that. It's not a fun experience. A lot of lives have been lost, and it's very unfortunate. It's really sad. A lot of people have been unable to see their loved ones because of this, and that's heartbreaking. So hopefully, the experts know what they're doing, and the decisions that they are making now will help us get out of this panini. But we can all just sit back and wait and watch and see what happens. But that's all for today's video, you guys. Definitely let me know your thoughts and opinions down below, how you feel about everything, where you think the world is headed, where we're going, if you think we'll be, if you think we're gonna have another lockdown soon. I wanna know about that because I hope not, but everyone's saying that we are, so I don't know. So definitely tell me what you guys are thinking. Until next time, stay pretty, and remember, whatever choices you choose to make in life, as long as you are happy with the choice that you made, it was a good choice. All right, guys, bye.